Hi, I'm Pat Kelly. How many of you have stayed at a hotel for a fish convention, bought fish, and went, now what do I do? So every time I go to a convention, I've got a few items that I take with me so I can set up in my room. That way the fish can survive the weekend and make it home. And I don't really have to worry about it so much. Let's take a look and see what I've got. So over the years, I've switched from taking tanks with me to taking storage containers. I picked these up at Target. You can get them just about anywhere, but they have locking lids, and you can see there's smaller ones inside of there, and I keep most of the things I need in there. So let's take a look at a few of them. When you open the first one up, it's marked heaters, and obviously when you take the lid off and the small lid off inside, I have multiple heaters. Most of them are all 50 watt, so that I can keep the fish warm in a hotel room. I also have thermometer. And then you get a few odds and ends in here too. I've got a few flashlights. I've got some poly filter for bringing the fish home. And don't forget electric. There are several containers in here. Each one of these I can set up as an individual tank. I put lids on them loosely, enough to keep the fish from jumping. And that's about it for the first one. So let's move on to the second one. The second one I have marked as air, and just like it says, these are mostly the items I use to provide air to each tank. Carry lots of hose with me. I have the old dirt magnet filters, the base, lift tube, and I have sponges for these in my tanks currently so that they're always in good shape. And when I get ready to leave, I squeeze them out into the tanks at home, bag them up, and take these with me. That way I can keep the fish in decent shape in the room. I also have some homemade ones because I started running out of sponges. I have an Alta pump so that I can get the air to each of the tanks. I started out using gang valves that you could purchase, but as you can see, moving things around, I kept breaking them. So that didn't work too well. Then when I bought that Alta, I decided I'd make myself a gang valve. Never really used it because instead I bought one that they offered to go with it. And this thing, as you can imagine, provides plenty of air to up to 12 tanks without any other assistance. And remember, I'm using small filters, so it doesn't take a whole lot of air. Some other items in the box, of course, more power strips, some prime, little odds and ends like scissors, an empty container, a knife to cut the airline. And what else do we have in here? Getting water from the hotel faucet into the temporary tanks, or you can also use a bucket. And of course, you always need things like nets, etc. My third container is rather obvious. How are you going to get the fish home? You don't have bags and you don't have rubber bands. So I carry a container with that. Now along with that, this is not something that everybody does, but I also carry O2. I know some people don't think it's necessary, but I like the protection. It's rather inexpensive. Started out with the bottle and had the hose system made. And that's really not something you've got to have, but here again, something I like. I also usually take 2 or 3 buckets along with empty buckets from my fish food. The smaller buckets are used for water changes. They're also used to help me bag fish. I set the empty bag down in the bucket and then start going from there. So anyway, these are just a few of the items I carry to almost every convention that I drive to. Obviously, I don't take all this when I fly. However, I have flown with a cooler and a styro and had part of the stuff in there, just in case I find fish that I cannot live without. I also have extras that I take if I know I'm taking a lot of fish with me to sell. You never can have too much room. You can always spread the fish out. So if you have everything you need before you leave, it won't be a problem. A couple more quick items. Don't forget an extension cord. There's a lot of hotels that it's hard to find the electric in. And you may want to take a hose to help drain or fill. In my case, a Python. Items to help keep your beverages nice and cold while you work or while you enjoy the fish show. So, to end this short video, while I know I don't speak as eloquently as Joey or Rachel or the king and queen of cichlids, I hope this has helped you some. Thanks a lot.